Have you noticed Netflix becoming progressively darker over the last decade? Darker themes, more violence, more sexual content, more chaos? 10 years ago, Netflix was still early in original content. It had 126 original titles, as opposed to 4,000 plus original titles today. At the time, it leaned more toward binge-worthy, mainstream, safe shows like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Orange is the New Black, and Narcos. These were considered dark back in the day, but they were handled in a light, hopeful, humorous way and not relentlessly bleak. Narcos was also framed as a historical crime drama and different from psychological horror or moral nihilism. There were dark shows, yes, but the platform wasn't overflowing with them. Today, you often see much more: graphic violence, dystopian worlds, moral ambiguity, supernatural horror, explicit themes, heavy psychological content, social messaging, and adult themes in animated shows. Even kids' movie remakes are darker, as you can see in Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio as compared to the original 1940 Disney version, both in tone and themes. It's undeniable that the tone of today's content is darker, heavier, and less morally anchored than early streaming era content. Why the shift towards darker content? Netflix watches what people finish, and dark, shocking, sensational content keeps viewers watching longer. So the algorithm naturally pushes creators towards darker content that has more twists, more shock value, and morally questionable characters. Gen Z and millennial viewership trends show strong preferences for darker themes, and Netflix is responding to demand, but also seemingly adding fuel to this fire. Movies and TV shows are also more morally ambiguous. In a 2023 social psychology study among popular adult-oriented films and shows on Netflix, about 59% were rated as having an immoral main character, while only 41% had a morally good main character. In many Netflix shows today, the audience is usually sympathetic to the villain. The hero is flawed to the point of being unethical. The moral center is intentionally blurred. Traditional family structures are less common. Religion is often depicted cynically. Identity topics are foregrounded, sometimes controversially. And younger audiences are exposed to adult themes earlier. Have you noticed this pattern yet? At the time of editing this video, this show was made available on Netflix. Just how much darker is it going to get? A few months ago, Elon Musk tweeted, "Cancel Netflix for the health of your kids." He also made similar comments about Netflix in 2022. Whether you agree with Musk or not, the point is worth thinking about. We need to be more aware of the content we feed our minds. The eyes are gateways to our soul. What we see doesn't just pass through us, it enters and shapes our inner world. The Bible says, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness." What we repeatedly expose ourselves to, we internalize. What we consume shapes our worldview, sense of self, thoughts, emotions, behavior, sleep, and even what we consider normal. Even harmless content is absorbed by the brain. Over time, it can make the world feel more dangerous than it really is. People seem less trustworthy. Cruelty feels more common than kindness. Empathy dulls. Hope feels naive. And what once disturbed you may even become entertaining. This is very disturbing because at the end of this, you can turn into a sadistic, cruel, cynical, and depressed individual. The truth is, you are always being formed, even when you're not paying attention. Just as junk food harms the body, visual junk food harms the mind. It fuels anxiety, distorts reality, breeds insecurity, numbs compassion, and fosters fascination with darkness. Harmful behavior rarely begins with a single decision. It usually forms slowly through repeated exposure and quiet agreement in the mind. What we focus on shapes our desires. Even ancient stories notice this. In one account, the turning point wasn't the action itself, it was attention. Seeing something appealing, hearing a persuasive voice, and dwelling on the idea before acting. It's time to take back the reins of your attention. Stop walking down the dark alley to despair. Be selective about what you feed your mind. Focus your thoughts on what is true, honorable, right, pure, beautiful, admirable, excellent, and worthy of praise. Make space for silence, reflection, and prayer. Anchor your mind in truth, beauty, and meaning. Pay attention to the signals like anxiety, hopelessness, cynicism, anger, restlessness. These are warnings. Choose stories that are uplifting and build compassion and hope. Create, move your body, talk things through with the right people. Remember, you are always being shaped, whether you notice it or not, so choose carefully what you watch and what forms you. Choose what leads you into the light.